Good Sunday afternoon to you, family. My name is Chris. You're listening to Encouraging Your Spirit podcast, and I'm so excited today to have a guest for our podcast, our Sunday afternoon edition. And we are reviewing and talking about the book Sacred Queer Stories, Ugandan LGBTQ and Refugee Lives and the Bible. And we have one of the co-authors of this book with us, and I'm going to read their bio. Mother Nature is a gender non-conforming person, an immediate past Orange the World poster child. They are a co-founder of the Advocacy Network Africa, as well as Nature Network, which is part of two umbrella organizations, ADNET A and Refugee Coalition of East Africa. They were born 30 years ago in Kampala, Uganda, and have actively been involved in advocating for LGBT persons since 2011. They were working in Macquarie University as a research assistant at Macary's Institute of Social Research, as a former fieldwork officer at Macquarie University Faculty of Law in Law, Gender, and Sexuality, and as a volunteer as a peer educator at Mulego Hospital for the Key Population. In Kenya, they are co-founder and until recently executive director of the Nature Network, which is an LGBT refugee-led community-based organization which focuses on empowering the community through positive and transformative information, sharing through music, drama, and dance. They also manage social media platforms to continue the promotion of information, education, and communication with the goal of influencing others to acquire skills to participate in life-preserving activities. They also work as a fieldwork officer at Refugee Coalition of East Africa, and as a key population volunteer peer educator at the Church World Service. It is because of the long hours and years that they have given LGBTIQ women movement that they have uh, been given responsibilities. It has been a learning process for them. They have gained a lot of experience in social justice, change, and promotion of quality health practices. They are also trained as a champion for transgender rights. They engage in activities for elimination of violence against women, elimination of female genital mutilization, end to domestic violence, empowering females or girl children to say no to unwanted advances by showing them how to be categorical in the no, and engage refugees in local host community development activities, ranging from animating community cleanup to workout campaigns. They are also happy to connect the drive for equality from Nairobi to the world while raising awareness about transgender rights, the need to involve all people in the eradication of TB, HIV, malaria, dignity for refugees, and sustainable developmental goals. Their refugee experience has been a journey for them to understand life, how to navigate it in a new country that they have come to call home. They recently, as of June 2020, resettled to the USA and looks forward to starting a new chapter in their life here in the United States while staying connected and committed to their fellow refugees still in Kenya. It's an honor and a pleasure, and thank you so much for joining our show. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure to be here, and I'm so
Yes.
excited to be part of this conversation.
Sure. Yeah, I've been reading your book since I heard about it in the Facebook group about queer theologies, and I guess we can start with our association question with what is, if I said faith to you, what would you say?
Thank you so much for that wonderful question. As my name go by Raymond Bryan, aka Mother Nature,
Uh-huh.
the only African American bearded male mother. If you didn't know
Okay.
that. All right. When I go to the question, faith to me, I take it as what a person believes,
Mm-hmm.
or how a person, he or she or they or them are connected with the spiritual to
Mm-hmm.
the creator.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So to just jump right in, we were talking in your bio about the Nature Network, but can you provide our listeners who never or may not have heard of the Nature Network, tell a little bit more about it?
Yeah, thank you so much. That's also a wonderful question to know how far someone has come and how someone is or they are. So, Nature Network, as you read that, it's a group of Ugandan LGBTI queer, let me say queer people, refugees, asylum seekers living in Nairobi. At first, we were just considering Ugandans, but also as our nature, as the name go by nature. So we also tried to engage in more people, regardless to which nationality you come from. Even if you're Kenyan, you're not a refugee, but the priorities would go to the refugees. So we started by mimicking TV and radio presenters because I had this dream of passing information to people, and I had a dream of working to a radio station or starting to have a radio station whereby queer people are free to express their let me say, inner faith or inner, it could be spiritual, it could be their feelings, whereby in a place or in a space where there's no discrimination, regardless to their sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the name Nature, it's my name,
Right.
which was given to me by my mother.
Mm-hmm.
So this started when way back in my primary school, primary, yeah, whereby I used to I was Mogali, whereby people used to get confused of who I am I a boy or a girl? So whenever I could go home, whenever I'm in class, I couldn't feel that I'm more comfortable sharing anything in class because my voice was so gully, yet I'm a boy. I used to play girls, what they term as girls games, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I
Who
know.
really defined that this could be games for the boys, this could be games for the girl. Yet it's all about nature. So when I went home, my mom saw me, like, whenever I could come from school, I would be uncomfortable. No. So one day she asked me that, why are you uncomfortable? I just told her, mom, I'm uncomfortable in school, not only school, but also home, because I see myself as a different person. Due to because of the nicknames, people call me girl boy, boy girl, to mention that a few. So my mom was like, in our local language, that echochech kulacho. Echochech kulacho means that's your nature. That's how you are. That's how I gave back to you. That's, you know what I mean? That's who you are. So for me, I got that as a weapon. Let me call it a weapon, whereby by the time you could insult me or embarrass me or complain about who I am, how I walk, how I talk, I could just tell that's my nature. So it became as a slogan whereby whenever I could say something, people would say that, he will just tell that that's his nature, that's his nature. So that's how the nature came from. Now, Nature Network, it was in 2015 when we came to Nairobi, when we did persecution from our country, Uganda. Because I had this, and by then, before coming to Nairobi, I used to work with Dr. Stella Nyanzi on different research projects. So I had this in me of expressing myself. How can I pass information to people? How can I bring this to people so that they can see us? We are visible, because whenever you talk from the box, no one will hear you. So we try to be visible so that people could see. We started by acting on thematic issues, topics. For example, how HIV is spread, how a trans woman could be treated, like how trans women are not different from other people, how from the dressing, from the way how they walk, how they talk. So for me, or for us, I was targeting those people who are most marginalized, whereby because of their nature, who they are. So most people used to think that every trans woman or every a person who is behaving feminine is gay, and they used to torture them, harass them, beat them like nothing. even when I go back in Uganda, there was a law which was introduced in Uganda, the anti-homosexuality bill, which had different penalties, killing when they get to know that you're a queer person, when even a person thinks that you are, or if you are suspected, you'll be sentenced to like 7 years, 14 years, if they think that you are trying. So for me, I saw that people have, I won't say, should I say shallow, like shallow, I'm sorry to use shallow brain. Like they don't
It's
think,
okay. Speak freely.
they don't think out of the box that the Lord who created you is the Lord who created me. That's why we all have different colors to show different colors, different voices, different ideologies to show how God is creative, how God thinks what far beyond. So when we started Nature Network in 2015, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy because whenever I could speak up that you're queer and you're a refugee, so people would say that you're a refugee, you're in Kenya, you've come to promote homosexuality, you left your country to come here to spread your bad manners. So for me, I'm like, no, this is the nature. This is our nature. So when nature meets nature, they will just network. They just connect together. That's why we're having Nature Network, whereby different people with different talents, people with different spirituality, culture, beliefs, when they come together, we came up with what we call a family-based therapy model. Whereby in our families, or in most of the people who came to Nairobi, by then, they didn't, people, almost all of them, they were accusing their families or blaming their families of who they are, that they couldn't listen to them, they couldn't share to their parents, their brothers, their siblings. So for us, we started in Nature Network on that family-based therapy model to have a family structure, whereby we have a mother, I'm a mother, we have a father figure, we have a sister, to feel more home, to feel more comfortable, like that even if you're queer, you're still human. You're still God who created those who pretend to be straight, hoary. God just sees the inner you. He doesn't see this outer part because people think different about you, but for you, you have a connection to your God. That's how we started Nature Network, by acting, mimicking TV presenters, so that information could be spread in different parts of the world. And I'm so grateful that we have the mission, goals, and we're seeing they are working. Like in a promotion of not only spirituality, but also healthy quality promotion practices.
That's good. That's wonderful. That is really fantastic. Fantastic. I identified when I was reading in the book the experience of I'm trans, my pronouns are he, him, and his, and I identified growing up where most of the time I felt extremely comfortable hanging around, individuals that are identified as boys. And one of the fondest memories that I remember, my mother had come to pick me up from preschool. Well, it wasn't preschool, but kindergarten. And I remember, all of the female identified individuals or girls, they were playing with dolls, but I was leading the tricycle race. But I felt and winning, and I felt most comfortable, And when I was reading in the book about how it talked about, how you felt with clothes, and how, when you put on certain clothes, you felt more like who you were. I felt that same way. My mother, of course, parents dress you when you're kids, and she would insist that, during elementary school, that I had to wear a dress. And I just remember during those days, it was the worst day, because I would look in the mirror and go, I don't know who this is. I know this dress is nice, but it's not me, And then it's kind of like later in life, just growing, and it was other individuals that really, would talk with me and just gave me, that space. Like you're saying, when you're talking about the network is a family of chosen family of individuals that give you just the space, to hold space for you, the ability to be who you are in your queerness and your transition, whatever, just be you, whatever that looks like. And I think that is so impactful in individuals' lives, no matter, who you are. So I totally was like, yeah, I understand that. In the book, you also talk about how you joined the faculty of law, gender, and sexuality. Could you share more about, because I thought it was fascinating that you're doing, field notes and taking pictures, and really, as a person that in the library, I do research, and I like that aspect of talking with other people. How did you come about doing that?
Thank you so much. By then, in the law, gender, and sexuality, I used to work with Dr. Stella Nyanzi in Korea. By then, I just left my Form 6, that's the secondary school, advanced level. So I didn't know what, like, I didn't know what to do. But I'll just say that our God just takes us to where He wants us to be.
Right,
Look,
right.
this was a scenario in 2011 whereby I was growing about my sexuality. Okay, I knew my sexuality, but I wasn't that more exposed.
Right.
More like with more knowledge about what I would hear it. I would be with different people. I would sleep with my fellow boys, but again, I wasn't sure of who I am exactly and what I was doing exactly. So here came Dr. Sanyans, and I'm so grateful for that. Let me call her mother. I don't know, mental, like I take her as like a person who really nurtured me in very many scenarios. When I got a chance of working with Dr. Stanyas, at first I was a field work officer, whereby I used to just take pictures. I don't know how she identified my field.
Right.
Yeah. So it was step by step. It's actually LGS is law, gender, and sexuality. Yeah. It's faculty of law in Makerere University. So when I joined the HEART team, I was so green. I'm like, what am I going to do? I've never gone to the university to study this. I thought that these are things which are done by the people who have books, who have gone further with their studies, who have more experience. But look what she said, I'm not going to take you to school. You're just going to learn from on the job. So I started going with her and our team in different at different occasions. By then, sorry to say, she was working on a project on the late David Kato, who was murdered in Uganda. So by this, we had to do research more about the in-depth, how his life, how he was, people who were surrounded him, these queer people who knew him. So like it opened my eyes so much that even if whenever I could go to do this, at first I was taking pictures. Right. Then from pictures, you go to the field, then you have to write field work notes. Now, so I'm like, how am I going even to write the field work notes whereby I don't have any clue about how they were written? So she was like, look, you just write what you see. Anything in your research, even if you said that I was with Grace, then he smiled, or she smiled and did that, blah, 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 blah. So that could build what she wanted. So I could go with her in different queer spaces. So the information we used to get, it made me stronger. Right. Stronger and stronger, both spiritually, mentally, psychologically, and to mention but a few. But the issue was more of like creating space and sending the message that these people do really exist. And when I saw a number of people who were like me, I became more stronger. Right. And it was a great platform for me to be myself so much. Right.
Yeah, representation, visibility, it is encouraging. One thing that I saw too early in the book is when you're talking about like the spirituality piece, and the quote that stood out the most is when it was stated, "We think church is the best place to be, but when you can't handle church because of the hate, how that creates challenges, because oftentimes people have used the Bible to weaponize against LGBTQ people, persecute them." When you think about where you are now, do you see or feel that church can be a safe space or not?
Great. Thank you so much for the wonderful question. Churches, as I'm a believer, I'll call myself a believer. I don't belong to any religion because of what's really most people preach against human beings, because the majority think they are more than others, they're next to God, they're more believer than others. So way back, I used to go to church like all the time, praying, fasting, because I thought I was sinning, I was doing something wrong. I could, you know what I mean? Because all my minds were so like, I don't know, and I thought, really, I'm a curse, I'm a demon. So that thing stopped me from going to church. It distanced me from going to church, or to some extent whereby I stayed home like years and years. Like I'm like thinking, if I could go to church, I'm going to be condemned, I'm going to be blamed. I want to be able. They don't see that you can praise, you can fast, you can contribute to the church, you can do a lot. Instead, they could just say whatever they could because of them thinking that they're next to God, not knowing that we all breathe in oxygen as other people. It's all about someone's faith. That's why I was so grateful when I heard that we're going to talk about faith. It doesn't do any good whereby we don't know what you do in your curtains, in your behind curtains. You know what I mean? You come here with a plastic thing. You don't know whether you committed adultery. You don't know whether you raped someone. You don't know. But when you come to church is where many people pretend to be holy. That's why when we came to Nairobi, we introduced what we call from the family-based therapy model. We introduced psychosocial supports. We introduced prayer meeting sessions whereby everybody, we created spaces whereby everybody could feel free to worship, whereby we are not against people's religion.
Right.
We bring people together. So when we saw that those churches, they don't like us, so we created, that's why Nature Network is whereby we have our own, let's say, we don't have our own God, but we believe. Because it doesn't take coming together with different people is like to share. Something somebody could share, you could give a testimony and you get healed. Like it's like therapy. Talking about what someone went through, you feel that you also relieved. So this happens whereby we have storytelling sessions. When we open up together, when we share together, everybody feels comfortable and so okay. That's why for us, we distance ourselves from the so-called churches to create our own spaces where we believe that God sees us in different ways or the other.
Right. That is I totally hope I can totally I can understand.
I'm okay to going to church, but again, sometimes I'm against what some people preach, taking others to be sinful a lot, more sinners, more because you don't have sex the way how I do, but sex is sex.
Right. Indeed. True. Another thing you talk about that I think about, which was identified with, which is the tenet of the mission of our podcast here, is I wholeheartedly and belief that I have within myself is that our stories matter. They're useful. It is our heart, our skill, our abilities, and personal experiences that are useful in every area of our life. And I was reading how you were talking about in that first chapter, you were talking about that you believe that your mission is to amplify your voice, be the voice for the voiceless. Can you share more about that?
All right, thank you so much. Right now, even I'll take this opportunity to thank everyone who is behind this platform, because it's like God plans everything in his or our own ways. We don't know whether it's a boy or a girl. I don't really know.
Yeah,
but
we don't know.
I learned for, and I used to pray for, like creating spaces, like being a voice to the voiceless, is because there are so many people, there are so many kids who come to my inboxes. There's so many parents who come into my inboxes. There's so many brothers, sisters, a lot of people coming to me for advices, for for help. You know what I mean? So I'm the voice. I speak because whenever they see me, it's like taking a risk. Being like, for example, I'm queer. I was in Africa, whereby, and even if here, it's like we're taking risks. Nobody not everybody would like you sexuality because they think that being gay, being a lesbian, being what it's more sinful than a person who steals, than a person who kills, and a person who like this is just sex. This is just done in bed. This is just done like anyway. So for me, speaking or acting or being a voice, the voiceless is whereby I promote with like I speak on promotion of healthy practices, good quality healthy practice, whereby it concerns everybody, regardless of sexuality, because we all feed, we all eat. So if they see me as a queer person having a show which is called Who Cares Show, having a show called Chinasi in Uganda, which talks about culture, herbs really use, you know what I mean? So I'm seeing as a voice whereby people come to me, they get touched from my speeches, from everywhere when I stand and I start talking about our experiences, all my experiences. There's so many people I'm touching on. There's so many people who I'm strengthening, those who are going down, who think that they're not valuable, who think that their family disowned me. I'm a good example, whereby way back when my father got to that I am queer, like he wasn't sure. He wasn't sure, but when someone told him that, you know, those boys who are working there, they are queer, they are gay, you know, he first told him that they are sex workers. My father couldn't have that. Then when he continued to say that they're gay, they have sex, they have anal sex, my father almost collapsed. You know what I mean? Because of how the person brought that package.
You brought the information to him, right? Okay.
So sitting with me, talking to me that if I get to know this, that you do this, I'll take you far away from me, from us. This is what I'm like, God, when you want to harm someone who is pure, who is what, God makes a space for them.
Right.
That's why when I started Nature Network, I'm like, I'm the voice. I speak for those people who like, I keep on strengthening my fellow friend that you can do it. Even if let your sexuality not identify you, let your, like, if you're productive in the community, if you are a leader in the community, let the person see that he's a teacher, regardless of sexuality. He teaches people. He's not going to tell people that in class that, come here, we start having sex here in the class. No, he will come and teach, tells you, reads you passages, making, you know what I mean? Yeah. People, parents could hear. However, there are those who insult me in my inboxes, like thinking that me speaking here or coming up and telling people that queer people do exist, they think that I'm doing more harm than good. Yet their kids are like, oh my God, thank you so much. I'm like you, but I don't know how I can be more stronger. How can I be more stronger than you? For me, what I tell them is like, you have to believe in yourself. Your mother, your parents, your what, they have their lives. They were there. They went through. When you die, it's not them who die. When they die, it's not you who die. Life continues. Enjoy life if you're careful, because no one can, we can't fight fate, but God does everything. You judge me, how I do how I have my sex. You don't know what you do. I don't know what you do in your beds, in your what. So when I speak and people see that I'm a CNA, like, hey, and he's a CNA or she's a CNA or they're CNAs, you know what I mean? He touches people, he cleans people, he gives people care, you know. So those things, sometimes people are like, that's why I'm so grateful for Dr. Tananyas. There was a person who used to come to her office because I had earrings, pins, and was like, why did you employ a gay person? That boy is gay. He has his ears are pierced. For her, she told that woman that I'm not about his sexuality. I'm about the work he delivers. I go with her in the field. She brings what I want. You don't bring what I want. He goes, so being productive in the community, even God sees that. That's why I tell, every time I tell myself I'm beautiful, I'm a voice to the voiceless, I'm touching people's soul, I'm a mentor, I'm being seen, I'm uplifting many queer people, or many, even if it's not queer. That's why our organization is called Nature Network. It's not only for queer people.
Right. Because even, people, regardless of their identity expression, they all need empowerment and uplifting, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
You can be having allies.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gay, but they're not against you. They support.
Right.
We cry because we're leaders. We don't have where to cry. We don't have where to cry. I don't know, to share.
Right.
Because we as a leaders, like, for you got it all. You don't go through stress, trauma, to mention but a few, but we are all human beings like other people. That's why I'm like a voice to the voiceless, the most marginalized community.
Right. So you mentioned, I want to go back to it. You mentioned teaching healthy practices and culture. What are some examples that you're doing currently with that?
Thank you so much. When you talk about healthy in culture, practices in culture, like there are so many people. For example, right now we talk about TB. We have a campaign. TB, malaria. Malaria is not for queer people, or for, like, it's part of health. You get sick, I get sick, but there are those who use herbal to get healed. You know what I mean? So for us, we maintain, though I don't believe in self-medication, because you know what you're nursing or what you're treating. So it's better to go to the doctor or somewhere who can tell where you can get good, healthy information. That's why on our platform, we advise everyone, if you feel that you're not okay, you feel funny, instead of medicating yourself, first go to the doctor, to the psychologist, to anywhere to seek information before you treat yourself. Good quality, healthy. You talked about quality, healthy, and culture, something like that.
Yeah, culture.
Yeah. We have girls, women in our country, or in our culture, different cultures of people we have. Like, if you do something when it's safe for you and you feel like it's okay for me, we can advocate for that.
Right.
Yeah, so far, when it comes to culture, every culture has different
practices.
Right.
Okay.
That's why we keep on promoting every culture's practice. If at all it's not harming, if it's not harming you, we just advocate for that.
Okay. Awesome. What another word association question? When I say love to you, what would you say?
Love to me?
Yeah, love.
Love to me. It could be care. It could be advising someone. It could be looking up for each other, taking care of each other, like belonging to, like, if you're having somewhere you belong, someone advising. It could be mental, it could be physically, it could be any kind, whereby if it's healthy, love has to be healthy. Don't tell me that you're in a relationship, it's not healthy, you keep on it's toxic, and because of love you have to stay there. No, I don't think that.
Okay. What do you want others to gain from your life?
Great. So I'm like, I want people to believe in themselves. You can make it. It could be age difference. Age is just a number. You can, however much, like, for example, I'm 30. But, there's so many people who have not got a chance to write this book, and they are more than 40 years, 50 years. So use any chance you get. Great. Everyone say that, because you're queer you can't make it. No, I'm queer, but I was able to join with other groups who saw how beautiful, how productive I am to the community. Trust me, this book is gonna live for years.
Right, I believe that.
And it has a lot of information. Share, speak. If you don't speak, nobody will hear you.
Right.
When you speak up, be in mind that when you're taking a risk, It could become negative, it could become positive. So for me, or for us, or for me personally, I'm so much into changing the negativity to positivity.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Very good. Last question. What advice would you give? And it probably hinges on what you just said, but what advice would you give to other people in daily life to encourage, empower, and educate them? What advice would you give?
All right. I would say I could advise, but I don't decide.
Okay.
I don't decide for you. It's like the last choice is given to you. The last, I can say, do this, do this. Can you do this? Could you please be like this? Could you be humble? Could you respect? You know, I don't call for respect. You know, it just comes automatic.
Right.
I didn't tell everyone to call me mother, mother. But those who saw that when they come to me, I listen to their issues. I'll mother them. There, from those ones is where, it's where somebody started calling me mother. Say that, you know what? I'm so open to you you're more than my mother. I wish my mother could listen to me like that, like the way how you are listening to me. Because they saw he's taking my journal, he's eating grass, he's eating everything. So he had made life like it's now useless for him, I mean for her, because she was a trans woman. So life, that was the end. I'm like, no. And right now I'm so grateful that people who have passed through my hands, they are somewhere in different countries, even if they're still in Uganda, even if they're still those ones who have gotten a chance to listen to my things, to my work, which I put on social media. I mostly put on dresses. Many people say that, why do you put on dresses when you're doing your work? It's part of my advocacy skills. It's I might feel more comfortable in expressing myself. You know what I mean? So the advice I give to everyone: believe in yourself, be who you are. Nobody's gonna live in you, or nobody's gonna leave you. You are active. You are a change. I started calling myself that I'm a change way back when I'm in, let me say, my primary school. Because what people used to call me, funny, I'm like, God, use this, the one how you made me, to change people's perspective about other people who are like me. You know, so that made me grow spiritually. I'm like, even if you're a pastor, even if you're a sheikh, even if a spiritual doctor, something, I'm like, I could be more powerful than you because I believe. There are people who just believe in you, but I don't believe in you. I believe in the Creator who created ocean, who separated from the land. You know what I mean? Who feeds us? Because there's so many people who eat, but they don't grow. Like, you know what I mean? Then those who eat, but they're not healthy. But God who makes us to be who we are. That's why I emphasize everyone to be who. That's your nature. Don't change in a positive way. Don't change and start doing issues which are not, things which are not productive. Be productive to your community. Everyone will love you. Okay, not everyone will love you, but there are those who will see the beauty, the something in you. They will follow you. That's why you'll be productive in the community or in the society.
Awesome. How can people reach out to you that they might want to connect with you, to partner, or just to reach out and support the network? How can they do that?
Thank you so much for that. We have our email as Nature Network. It's knaturenetwork@gmail.com. It's KE, then Nature Network @gmail.com.
Okay.
My personal, if you want to speak with me or you want some words of encouragement, I have a WhatsApp number. My WhatsApp number, which is +1304 906 6681.
All right. Because I'm going to include all of that in the show notes when I post it on Buzzsprout, so that way they can reach out to you in addition to hearing.
I also have a Facebook page, which I have Who Cares. We have Nature Network Facebook. There's so many pages. We have Adneta, which is Advocacy Africa. We have there's so many.
Right.
There's so many. Yeah. There's so many. But I also have a show which is called Who Cares Show. I always do it on YouTube channel, and I post it on the Nature Network. The Nature Network is our YouTube platform.
Okay. All right.
I'm so grateful for this opportunity.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, I thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk with me. I wish you a great rest of your day. And thank you again. Have a great day.
You're welcome. See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.